This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. To say that Donald Trump is unconventional is an understatement. I mean, to say it's an understatement is an understatement. Even to say that Donald Trump is unhinged or dangerous it's an understatement. Donald Trump, the former president of the United States of America, frequently brings up the prospect of execution for his opponents. This is not just strong-armed tactic. This is not just autocratic nonsense. This is anti-democratic, anti-constitutional, dictatorial nonsense. Over the weekend, Donald Trump took to Truth Social and did what he always does, which is give permission to the unwashed, low-information, toothless horde of Donald Trump supporters to inflict violence and mayhem at his behest, in his name. This time, attacking General Milley, Mark Milley, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He posted this on Truth Social. Mark Milley, who led perhaps the most embarrassing moment in American history with his grossly incompetent implementation of the withdrawal from Afghanistan, costing many lives, leaving behind hundreds of American citizens, and handing over billions of dollars of the finest military equipment ever made, will be leaving the military next week. This will be a time for all citizens of the United States of America to celebrate. This guy turned out to be a woke train wreck who, if the fake news reporting is correct, was actually dealing with China to give them a heads up on the thinking of the President of the United States. This is an act so egregious that in times gone by, the punishment would have been death, all capitalized. A war between China and the United States could have been the result of this treasonous act, to be continued, with multiple exclamation marks. Let me tell you, Donald Trump supporters, in a time gone by, Donald Trump's treason and traitorousness against the United States by inciting an insurrection against the United States government would have been met with execution. Donald Trump loves to flap his fucking gums about who should and should not be killed under the weight and power of the United States government, never really taking a moment to understand that his actual crimes, the crimes we've witnessed, would be punishable by those same levels of punitive arrangement at the hands of the United States government. You incited an insurrection. You attempted to overthrow the United States government, attempted to overturn a free and fair, settled American election in which you received 7 million plus fewer votes than your opponent. People died. And yet you want to talk about a decorated Army general deserving execution and trying to paint him as anything other than a patriot, as anything other than a servant of the people, of a servant to the same Constitution that you believe should be terminated. But Trump supporters will laud this. Trump supporters, members of the cult, will think this is absolutely on par with how things should run. They want a country where Donald Trump decides who lives and who dies, who prospers and who withers on the vine. This is the America they want. They've substituted constitutional rule, the rule of law being applied equally under our judicial system, for whatever Trump likes. Whatever this do nothing, earned nothing in his life monster likes. Donald Trump, who was born with a silver spoon right in his ass. They want to give him the call, let him make the call on matters this important. A failure of a president, a failure of a man, they want to hold up in high esteem, venerated for all that he has accomplished, which is only bad shit. And here he is calling for, and look, people can disagree. Oh, he's not really calling for his execution. He's just saying in a time gone by, that's what would have happened. What would have happened for a man who served his country for decade after decade after decade after decade, selflessly, self-sacrificially? You don't get to that point, to that rank, to that station in the United States military being a selfish individual. It just doesn't happen. There's too many failure points along the way to get jettisoned by the system. But it's an act so egregious that in times gone by, the punishment would have been death. If only this same logic, if only this same standard would be applied to Donald Trump and his many, many, many crimes. Because if I were to sit up here every day and to call for the execution of Donald Trump for his treason against the United States, for his traitorous behavior, the right wing would freak out and talk about, the tolerant left, look how violent they are, while ignoring this. This very likely violates his gag order that was placed in on him about intimidating witnesses. Because Milley could be very well called in the case here in Washington, D.C., relative to the attempted overthrow of the United States government, the insurrection on January 6, 2021. He very well could be a witness in that case. About when Donald Trump finally spoke and what preparations were made and who denied security via the National Guard. But he also could be a witness in the documents case. Less likely, but it's possible. MAGA world silent. Because what's true and what is good and what is decent and what is standard doesn't matter to MAGA world. It matters to the rest of us. But not the clowns who will hold up Donald Trump as some kind of a hero, as some kind of a noble, decent patriot who loves his country. Doesn't matter to them. Does it matter to you, though? I'd love to know. You can mix it up in the comments, have a conversation. We can disagree agreeably, well, although it is a YouTube comment section, so who knows? You can call also and leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. I'd love to hear from you. Follow me on social media. I'm at Dollemore on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Facebook. At Dollemore is where you can find me, and I'd love to see you there. And if I do something that you appreciate, if I say something you appreciate, if I comport myself in a manner that you appreciate, or even mildly, consider supporting my work, help producing what we do here, taking part on the objective and the mission of this program. You can click the join button below, become a channel member right on YouTube. You can hit the super thanks button below on YouTube, or you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. All those are great ways to help support what we do right here. I'll see you next time. Until I do, I hope that you will be genuine and take care of one another.